This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with an honorary killer bee, my dog Piper Poodle. Mwah. I'll let her go back to sleep since it's late. I've been out there running in the dark, hoping to see something special on Halloween morning. I had an excellent run, even though it's -4 Celsius here. Had my gloves on, by the way. Here's a question for all of you. Which wrestler am I? I'm wearing gloves for an interview or for a video. Which wrestler did this at a shoot interview of mine? I won't keep these on forever. I'll get into the news shortly. But since Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I am wearing my official Hannibal 420 hoodie, these also come in sweaters. If you go to our merchandise link at thehannibaltv.com or in the description of this video, but I'm going to smoke a few of these. So this will be more of a laid back Wrestling Observer review. There's actually less news than normal this week. Less interesting news anyways, as I light this one up. That is a big one. People like me to inhale more, don't they? And of course, I keep forgetting to write down the type of weed it is that I smoke. I don't normally smoke it, actually, which is why you see me coughing. Well, I do regularly, but not daily. So not all of you are going to be patient enough to sit through all the news as I drink some of my nice milk here from the Hannibal TV mug. By the way, I'll plug the Hannibal TV fanny packs too. Xania has one. Who do we have on here? Carl, 420 time at 5:08 in the morning. Joe says the dog has more muscle than Jerry Lawler. She's quite a little luchador. She has absolutely no fear. She's calm with me, but she's very protective of me. Joe Schlipley talking about my joint in the screenshot being too close to the dog. It wasn't lit. All right. We're going to have some fun in this update. Patriot 88 says, "What's up, Sam Lentz? Halloween." There won't be very many trick-or-treaters this year. Nikki says, "Hey." Bookie, am I going to fight Jake Hager? For the right money, I would. For the right money, I would. If you look at him and Brandon Carlton, who Jake got a split decision over him in Bellator, Jake took a lot more damage. Brandon was yelling for a round 4 and 5 at the end. I think Brandon would have finished him. Jake was gassed and his face was all smashed up. So if you look at the two of them after the fight and say who won the fight, you'd have to say Brandon. But it went to the judges, and that went up. E Honda says my stock just went up 1,000% in my opinion. By the way, I'll tell you guys some news about Ring of Honor. This month, I have more than double the YouTube views of Ring of Honor. And for everyone using the excuse why I was beating them before, they weren't running, they're back running. Mint just hits his vape pen. Book Ultimo Dragon versus Kurt Angle. I am supposed to interview Kurt Angle in February. I interviewed Damien Sandow today. It's up there already. As far as this week, or next week, I'm supposed to be interviewing DDP. Sometime today, the first Forest of Fear match will be will be posted, and it was very bloody. In fact, you could say the Blood Hunter massacred his two opponents, and Blaze had to become involved in the match. One of his two managers, the Blood Hunter's other manager, is the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, who will be managing the Blood Hunter when he makes his Florida debut at the Ocean Center, December 19th. The Ocean Center is where Hogan turned heel in WCW. What a better place to make a Florida debut of the greatest heel in pro wrestling today. Mike F's Hurricane Helms interview. There is one up here. We just posted it, right? Hurricane Helms, the Hannibal TV. We just posted an hour interview with him. Yoda says he just woke up, bake time. Very funny. Anyone guess who was the wrestler that wore gloves when I interviewed him inside? Nathaniel is in Prague. Everything is closed there as well. Sucks, but I walked and baked this morning out of solidarity. I'm sick of them here at martial arts schools. If they're called academies, are allowed to stay open. Only if they're called academies. Dance studios are allowed to stay open, but they closed the gyms. Liquor stores are open for the alcoholics' mental health. The workout-aholics have to go out in the sub-zero temperatures and risk catching a cold or tripping or slipping on ice or getting hurt walking in a pothole or an uneven piece of land, or the dangers of being outside if you're a female at night, me running the streets. I welcome challengers. And I do have unusual encounters on my midnight runs with animals in the woods, as well as the odd people. I've seen people trying to steal a car this summer. I've seen all kinds of weird stuff. When I used to run a track, it's funny, I got so into the zone of running, and I'm running around the track and very late at night. And I once actually ran into a group of teenagers who were drinking and came out of the forest onto this track at my old high school I was running. And I ran into them, and it actually shocked me. Kind of like, what the fuck? And it scared the hell out of them. But we all had a good laugh. Once I was in the middle of a run, again, at my old high school, which is pretty much there's a forest behind it. And the track is fairly far behind, very close to the forest. Somebody literally walks onto the track at like 3:30 in the morning and like waves me to stop. And I take off my headphones and he's like, "Do you ever get runner's high?" And I said, "Well, yes, I do." And he said, "Oh, that's cool, man." And he turned around and walked back into the woods. Imagine that. Do I ever read Power Slam magazine? No. I used to be a big wrestling magazine reader. I am a big wrestling book leader. Heartstrokes is Billy Jerkins. Well, he's actually the only wrestler that called me on my birthday this year. The only wrestler actually that wished me happy birthday. So for that, he wins points, and he was the only wrestler that wished me happy birthday last year. You don't have many friends in the wrestling business. They might act nice to your face. You can have, I don't put my birthday on Facebook. These people that celebrate getting like 600 happy birthdays, it's showing up in people's notification. They don't actually remember your birthday. If you really want to know how many friends you have or how many people care about you, don't make your birthday that obvious and see who contacts you. AJRX says, I came into the chat. It looks like a good promo. Well, I am the death dealer. The only real death dealer. Not the fat slob that wrestles in a shirt and is an embarrassment. Doesn't care enough about the fans to work out. And he is no death dealer. Definitely not. Doesn't have my lust for blood. Don't know why he's insisting on insulting me. Constipated in Sin City is in Las Vegas. Baking with my Easy Bake Oven. By the way, if you ever go to the Cauliflower Alley Club, there's actually a great marijuana shop right beside the, I think it's the Gold Coast Hotel and Casino. If they still have it there. We have covered it the past few years, and it's always been an honor to do that. Nathan says he loved the Billy Jack Haynes interview. Oh, are you giving a hint here, Nathan? Or Nathaniel? Thiel 330, where is the barrier between our world and the supernatural is thin? My grandmother is unfortunately about to find out about the supernatural world. It's very sad. Spectre Corp says, fucking awesome. This is a fun deviation. Tommy says, may you live for 100 years or more and one more to repent. Happy birthday. Thank you. Let's get into this news, which I've starting 13 minutes in. Sting's merchandise contract with WWE has expired. So they can't sell his merchandise anymore, similar to Brock Lesnar's situation. Matt Riddle, they changed his name to Riddle. Some say this is because all of the speaking out allegations and lawsuits against him and WWE and Evolve. So if people just search Riddle, there's a lot more stuff that comes up, such as Riddle stuff. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black beauty, Blaze? Who's afraid of Blaze, the manager of the Blood Hunter? Spectre Corp tips me £5. Thank you for all the content. Have a great time, brother. Hope you have a day of spooky fun from Ireland. Very interesting. Thank you. I appreciate the tips. Dennis says, if I want to leave Canada, no lockdown in Kentucky. Well, I'll be hopefully getting out of here in December for a while. Arizona, possibly California, and Florida will be my destinations to get various interviews and cover various events. Mostly because of their TV contracts, WWE had $221.6 million in revenue for their third quarter, so they are still taking in a lot of revenue, despite there seemingly being a lot less interest in wrestling. Yeah. You don't see the kids wearing wrestling t-shirts when you're walking around. Mind you, there's a lot less people in general out these days. WWE talent such as Xavier Woods, who there's an interview with on this channel, Mia Yim, AJ Styles, who I once pinned twice in one night when he was New Japan Pro Wrestling, IWGP champion. Cesaro and others disbanded their Twitch accounts due to WWE orders. I mean, you guys signed the contracts with them. You know the restrictions. They have to be notarized by someone with the notarization authority when you sign it. And often, I'm sure AJ Styles had a lawyer look over his. So I don't know what Twitch is. I honestly don't know. But yeah, those contracts can be restrictive. There's a lot of controversy. Are they really independent contractors or not? They do make a lot of money, though, and it's way better than a real job being a wrestler. It's fun to wrestle. You're a star. Most of the time, you get to travel. You get merchandise money for a long time after you work for them. I mean, I've heard from wrestlers, I won't name names, but many of them getting like over $40,000 in the mail for being in a video game or various other amounts long after they've left the company. So that's kind of cool that you won't get working at Walmart. Random checks in the mail or quarterly checks for various amounts of money, probably for the rest of your life. There was another COVID outbreak at the Performance Center this past week. AEW lost in viewership to NXT for the first time in a long time. AEW had 781,000 viewers. NXT had 876,000 viewers, but AEW had the higher rating in the 18 to 49 demo, 0.32 to 0.25. I cannot remember if NXT has beaten AEW in a rating this year or not. Maybe once. Raw did a 0.51 rating. SmackDown did a 0.25 rating. In NWA news, by the way, if you want to watch any of these weekly NWA/United Wrestling Network pay-per-views, use my link in the HannibalTV.com, and I also have it in the description. $7.99 per show. You can buy four for $23.99. Serena Deb, who is an AEW wrestler, defeated Thunder Rosa. I interviewed her last week for the NWA Women's title this week on the United Wrestling Network pay-per-view. Now, Thunder Rosa did say when I interviewed her last Sunday, which is on here for anyone that wants to see, that she was going back into MMA imminently. She hasn't announced the contract yet. Eric Rowan is debuting for NWA as Eric Redbeard soon, and he will also be doing an interview with me soon. Davey Boy Smith Jr. is on this week's show I think he's fighting Mike Bennett, who will have his work cut out for him. And Davey Boy Smith Jr. was also on the recent MLW tapings. And he said he will be leaving there on good terms. And whatever differences they had seem to have been resolved. And I would like to say, by the way, I wish MLW luck. There's a lot of things about MLW I like, such as Jacob Fatu, The Sheik, and Alex Hammerstone, who are all part of PCW Ultra, which there's a lot of PCW Ultra footage on this channel. And I hope once these restrictions loosen, that there can be event collaborations in the future. Marty Scurll and Dan Maff appear to be off the roster. They were involved in various speaking out allegations. We already mentioned this earlier. Tracy Smothers passed away at 58, unfortunately, October 28th. I'm sorry about that. He has my second longest shoot interview, 4.5 hours. I met him at a convention in New Jersey, and he was a fan of mine. He actually, that thing that Lanny Poffo and I did, he actually bought into that incident. So yeah, we became friends there, and I did the shoot interview with him in Evansville, Indiana, where Sarah Stock was recently in a bar fight, apparently, which hopefully she won. And I hope to have Sarah Stock on an interview on here sometime, by the way, if anyone wants to encourage her to do that. So very sorry about Tracy Smothers. Anyways, I remember before my third kickboxing exhibition, he called me several times to motivate me for my training for those. And he was really on my side. He wanted me to do more fighting and more wrestling. He was trying to tell me to move to Illinois, where I'd be more central. And he said he would hook me all up with that. But I wanted to focus on this channel, which I'm happy about doing. But what a great guy. Just a genuine, nice guy, I would say. So he was suffering a lot, though. And at least his suffering is done. He was in a lot of physical pain as well and had CTE issues. He was part of the CTE lawsuits, along with a lot of other wrestlers that have passed away, which is sad. In UFC news, the UFC is claiming UFC 254 had 675,000 pay-per-view buys. The pre-show only did a 0.14 rating, and that was for the big Khabib fight where he retired after. Henry Cejudo, another fighter that said he was retired, and it doesn't seem like that was too long ago. He also was one of the ones that was sharing that video of Chris Jericho and Mike Tyson hugging in AEW. But I like him. He was also training with Mike Tyson for a while. Someone just tipped me. I just want to acknowledge them because these tips help fund the channels and help me get the interviews. There's going to be a lot, possibly Bill LaFonso, possibly Eric Watts. I'm working on a lot of them. But AJRX tips me $5. He likes how I mentioned that I pinned AJ Styles twice in one night. Well, it's the truth. And he was New Japan IWGP champion at the time. That's why they never used me in Japan, because they knew I could beat all their wrestlers. Jamie Baldwin gives me a thumbs up. Well, that's the news this week. And there's a smaller one that I'll finish as I go through some of your comments. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Vincent, I never actually fought MMA. Only trained in it. I was supposed to have a fight, but unfortunately I had health issues that forced me to pull out that are now cured. But I think I'm better off as a reporter and interviewer, but I might have a fight. Probably will have a fight at some point before I get too old. Sam says, God bless Kentucky. Hi from Big Ben. Vincent, have I been training? Yes. I did an hour and a half of tire flipping and sledgehammering. And I ran for like 2.5 hours. Blaze is hot. Happy Halloween, Ma the Meatloaf. Lots of questions. Avoid Philadelphia. Between lockdowns and riots, I'd head south. I don't really like Philadelphia, to be honest with you, other than the Rocky Steps. But it does have a rich wrestling history. Man, that one was not done properly. My friend, the first one was great, though. Happy Halloween for Mr. Scoopy. WWE makes something like $50 million through YouTube. They must make so much through YouTube. But it's all old content and shoot interviews and stuff on top of everything else. So good. They're going to be around. Good. People will be making money. Wrestling will be around. I don't know. Joseph, Bloodhunter should face Haku's son. Well, that is probably bound to happen, yes, because I believe Bloodhunter holds 2 victories over Haku, 1 singles and 1 tag team. So I don't know how much more of a beating Haku will have to take before he needs his son for backup. He's already tried to bring the Barbarian for backup. And the Bloodhunter and Scorpio with Blaze took care of them. Dude looks stoned. Well, I'm getting there. That's for sure. Patriot says, royalties are good. Halloween Havoc, someone says. Rosemary interviews. She doesn't do shoot interviews. She likes to keep kayfabe. Yoda says they're marking everything down as COVID. Yeah, I'm not going to get into much to that because it is Happy Halloween, and let's try and forget about some of the bad stuff. Surfing Corp actually tipped me enough for a protein drink, and I will use that for a protein drink. I only am having milk here. When the gym's open, or if I go, the supplement stores are still open, I guess. But it's always fun to get a nice cold protein drink with vegetables and stuff in it after you work out. Have I ever been to Ireland? I was supposed to wrestle for Irish Whip Wrestling back in 2008. But it didn't quite work out. Raven was going to be on those shows too. Unfortunately, and I regret it now. But I would love to go over there and visit the fine pubs. So thank you very much for all your tips. all your support. I wish you all a very happy Halloween from Hannibal, the only, the real, the authentic death dealer.